perfect family of five torn apart after mother's Vegas weekend getaway, leaving their tight-knit community stunned and heartbroken. But 6 months later, Detective Wilson finds something hidden deep inside the basement wall of their abandoned home, a discovery that would completely redefine everything everyone thought they knew about the Rodriguez family massacre. The Rodriguez family appeared to have it all. Living in the quiet suburbs of Phoenix, Arizona, on Willowbrook Drive, they were the embodiment of the American dream. Marcus Rodriguez, 42 years old, served as principal at Roosevelt High School, where students and faculty alike respected his fair but firm leadership style. His wife, Isabella, 38, had built a successful career as a real estate agent, specializing in luxury properties throughout the Phoenix metropolitan area. Their three children seemed to thrive in this environment of stability and love. 16-year-old Diego excelled in both academics and soccer, earning recognition as team captain and maintaining a 4.0 grade point average. 13-year-old Sofia showed remarkable talent in violin, regularly performing in youth orchestras, and dreaming of attending Juilliard. Little Carlos, just 8 years old, brought endless joy to the family with his infectious laughter and curious nature, always asking questions about everything from astronomy to why the sky changes colors at sunset. Neighbors often commented on how the Rodriguez family seemed to have discovered the secret to genuine happiness. Marcus would arrive home each evening at exactly 5:30, greeting Isabella with a kiss on the cheek while the children rushed to share stories about their day. Weekend mornings found the entire family working in their meticulously maintained garden, Isabella teaching the children about different plants while Marcus grilled breakfast on their back patio. The family attended St. Michael Catholic Church every Sunday, without fail, sitting in the same pew, third row from the front on the left side. After service, they would often invite other families over for afternoon barbecues, with Isabella's famous tres leches cake becoming legendary among their social circle. Marcus coached Diego's soccer team during spring seasons, while Isabella volunteered at Sofia's music recitals and Carlos's elementary school reading programs. Their home reflected their values, warm, welcoming, and filled with photographs capturing precious family moments. The living room walls displayed vacation pictures from their annual trips to San Diego, where they would spend a week each summer building sandcastles, surfing lessons for the older children, and evening walks along the pier. Isabella kept detailed photo albums documenting each child's milestones, from first steps to school achievements, organized chronologically with handwritten captions describing her feelings about each moment. Marcus had proposed to Isabella 15 years earlier, in this very neighborhood, during a sunset walk around the block where they now lived. He often told the children about how their mother looked that evening, wearing a simple yellow dress that caught the golden light perfectly. Isabella would blush and playfully scold him for embarrassing her, but the children never tired of hearing their parents' love story. Their relationship had weathered typical marital challenges, financial stress during Marcus's graduate school years, sleepless nights with newborn babies, and the occasional disagreement about parenting decisions. However, they had always found ways to work through difficulties together, often staying up late in their kitchen, talking through problems over cups of coffee until reaching mutual understanding. Isabella's real estate career had flourished over the past 5 years, particularly after she began specializing in high-end properties. Her natural warmth and genuine interest in helping families find perfect homes earned her numerous referrals and industry recognition. The additional income allowed the family to take nicer vacations, upgrade their home, and start college savings accounts for all 3 children. Marcus took immense pride in Isabella's professional success, often bragging to colleagues about her latest sales achievements. He would attend her office parties and awards ceremonies, beaming with pride as she received recognition from her peers. Isabella, in turn, supported Marcus's educational initiatives, helping organize fundraisers for school programs and attending every graduation ceremony where he delivered keynote addresses. Everything changed during the first week of March, when Isabella announced she would be attending a real estate conference in Las Vegas. The conference, focusing on luxury property marketing strategies, represented an excellent opportunity for professional development. Marcus encouraged her to attend, volunteering to handle all household responsibilities during her 4-day absence. Isabella seemed unusually excited about the trip, spending more time than usual selecting outfits and researching conference sessions. She purchased new clothes, elegant dresses and professional suits that made her feel confident and sophisticated. The children helped her pack, with Sophia offering fashion advice and Carlos drawing pictures for her to take along. Las Vegas overwhelmed Isabella from the moment she arrived. The luxury resort hosting the conference exceeded anything she had experienced before. Crystal chandeliers illuminated marble lobbies, while floor-to-ceiling windows offered breathtaking views of the desert landscape. Her room on the 32nd floor provided a panoramic view of the famous Strip, with its dazzling lights creating a magical atmosphere after sunset. The conference sessions proved both informative and inspiring, introducing Isabella to cutting-edge marketing techniques and networking opportunities with successful agents from across the country. However, it was during the welcome reception on her first evening that her life took an unexpected turn. Thomas Wright, a distinguished casino executive with salt and pepper hair and piercing blue eyes, approached Isabella at the hotel bar. His confident demeanor and genuine interest in her work immediately captivated her attention. Thomas, 45 years old and recently divorced, managed operations for one of the Strip's most prestigious casinos. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, covering topics from real estate markets to travel experiences, shared love of classical music, and philosophical discussions about pursuing dreams versus accepting security. Thomas possessed a worldliness that both intrigued and attracted Isabella. He had lived in multiple countries, spoke 3 languages fluently, and shared fascinating stories about meeting celebrities and international business leaders. As the evening progressed, Isabella found herself completely absorbed in Thomas's company. He listened intently to her thoughts about family life, career aspirations, and dreams she had set aside over the years. When Thomas suggested they continue their conversation over dinner the following evening, Isabella accepted without hesitation. Their second encounter proved even more intense. Thomas took Isabella to an exclusive restaurant overlooking the city, where they dined on exquisite cuisine while discussing everything from art to philosophy. Isabella felt a connection she had not experienced in years. Intellectual stimulation combined with genuine romantic chemistry. Thomas shared his own relationship history, describing a marriage that had ended amicably when both partners realized they wanted different things from life. He spoke about his desire to find someone who shared his passion for adventure and personal growth. Isabella found herself opening up about her own dreams, traveling to Europe, writing a book about her real estate experiences, perhaps starting her own agency someday. By the third evening, Isabella and Thomas had become inseparable. They explored Las Vegas together, visiting art galleries, attending shows, and sharing intimate conversations in quiet corners of elegant lounges. Thomas introduced Isabella to experiences she had never imagined. Private wine tastings, helicopter tours over the desert, and conversations with fascinating people from around the world. Isabella felt herself falling for Thomas in ways that surprised and frightened her. This was not just physical attraction, it was intellectual and emotional connection with someone who seemed to understand her deepest aspirations. Thomas spoke about the future with infectious enthusiasm, describing plans for travel, business ventures, and life experiences that made Isabella's current existence seem small by comparison. On her final evening in Las Vegas, Thomas took Isabella to his penthouse apartment, overlooking the city. The space reflected his sophisticated taste, modern artwork, imported furniture, and a wine collection representing vineyards from around the globe. They talked until sunrise, with Thomas eventually asking Isabella to consider leaving Phoenix and starting a new life with him in Las Vegas. The proposal shocked Isabella, yet she found herself seriously considering the possibility. Thomas offered her a position, managing real estate acquisitions for his casino's expansion projects, a career opportunity far beyond anything available in Phoenix. More importantly, he offered her a chance to become the person she had always dreamed of being. Isabella returned to Phoenix in a state of emotional confusion, carrying Thomas's business card and the memory of his final words. "I will wait for you, but not forever. Life is too short to settle for anything less than extraordinary." Marcus immediately noticed changes in Isabella's behavior upon her return from Las Vegas. She seemed distracted during family conversations, often staring out windows with a distant expression. Her usual enthusiasm for household activities diminished, and she began spending increasing amounts of time on her phone, often stepping outside to take calls. The children sensed the shift in their mother's demeanor as well. Diego, perceptive beyond his 16 years, asked his father privately if everything was okay between his parents. Sofia noticed that Isabella no longer sang while cooking dinner, a habit that had been constant throughout Sofia's childhood. Carlos simply clung to his mother more tightly during bedtime stories, sensing an emotional distance he could not understand. Isabella's work performance also began to suffer. Colleagues noticed her lack of focus during meetings, and several clients commented on her distracted behavior during property showings. Her assistant, Maria Santos, expressed concern about Isabella's uncharacteristic forgetfulness regarding appointments and deadlines. Meanwhile, Isabella maintained daily contact with Thomas through encrypted messaging applications. Their conversations ranged from professional discussions about real estate opportunities in Las Vegas to deeply personal exchanges about their growing feelings for each other. Thomas sent flowers to Isabella's office with cryptic notes that made her heart race, while simultaneously filling her with guilt. The internal conflict consumed Isabella's thoughts constantly. She loved Marcus and their children deeply, yet she found herself increasingly dissatisfied with the predictability of her current life. Thomas represented adventure, passion, and possibilities she had never seriously considered before meeting him. Marcus, naturally observant due to his educational background, began documenting the changes he noticed in Isabella's behavior. She no longer initiated physical affection, seemed preoccupied during their traditional evening walks, and frequently claimed to be too tired for intimate conversation. When Marcus suggested planning their annual summer vacation to San Diego, Isabella responded with indifference rather than her usual excitement. The situation reached a critical point 3 weeks after Isabella's return from Las Vegas. Marcus discovered unfamiliar credit card charges for expensive clothing and jewelry purchases. When he questioned Isabella about these expenses, she became bent and accused him of not trusting her professional judgment regarding appropriate business attire. Their argument escalated quickly, with Isabella storming out of the house and spending the night at her sister Carmen's apartment across town. Carmen, concerned about Isabella's emotional state, tried to understand what was happening in her sister's marriage. Isabella broke down completely, confessing everything about Thomas and her feelings of being trapped in a life that no longer satisfied her. Carmen, shocked by these revelations, urged Isabella to consider the consequences of her actions. She reminded Isabella about the children's needs, Marcus's devotion, and the stability their family provided. However, Isabella had already made her decision. She was going to leave Phoenix and start a new life with Thomas in Las Vegas. Marcus, desperate to understand what was happening to his marriage, hired private investigator Robert Chen to discover the truth about Isabella's recent behavior. Chen, experienced in matrimonial investigations, quickly uncovered evidence of Isabella's affair through hotel records, phone communications, and surveillance footage from Las Vegas. The devastating truth hit Marcus like a physical blow. Photographs showed Isabella and Thomas together in intimate settings, holding hands, kissing, and appearing completely absorbed in each other's company. Hotel records confirmed that Isabella had spent her final 2 nights in Las Vegas, in Thomas's penthouse, rather than her conference hotel room. Marcus confronted Isabella on a Tuesday evening in early April, after the children had gone to bed. He presented the evidence calmly, asking only for honesty about her intentions regarding their marriage and family. Isabella, relieved that the deception was finally over, confessed everything. She described meeting Thomas, their connection, and her realization that she wanted a different life than the one she had built in Phoenix. She spoke about feeling suffocated by routine, about dreams she had abandoned, and about Thomas's offer to help her become the person she truly wanted to be. Marcus listened in stunned silence as Isabella explained her decision to file for divorce and relocate to Las Vegas. With the children, she had already consulted with an attorney and planned to seek primary custody, arguing that her higher income and career opportunities in Las Vegas would provide better opportunities for Diego, Sofia, and Carlos. The conversation escalated into the most intense argument of their 15-year marriage. Marcus, devastated by Isabella's betrayal, accused her of selfishly destroying their family for a fantasy relationship with a man she barely knew. Isabella, defensive and emotional, claimed that Marcus had never truly understood her ambitions and had always expected her to be satisfied with a conventional suburban life. Their voices grew louder as the argument continued, with both saying things they would later regret. Isabella accused Marcus of being boring and predictable, claiming she felt like she was slowly dying in their marriage. Marcus, wounded and angry, questioned Isabella's fitness as a mother, suggesting that any woman willing to abandon her family for a stranger lacked the moral character necessary for parenting. The argument reached its climax when Isabella announced she was leaving immediately and would return within a week to collect the children. Marcus, desperate and panicked, grabbed Isabella's arm as she headed toward the door, pleading with her to reconsider for the children's sake. Isabella pulled away forcefully, causing Marcus to lose his balance and stumble backward into their glass coffee table. The impact shattered the table, sending sharp fragments across the hardwood floor. Both Marcus and Isabella froze, suddenly aware that their argument had crossed into potentially dangerous territory. At that moment, Sophia appeared at the top of the staircase. Having been awakened by their shouting, she saw her father bleeding from cuts on his hands and arms, her mother standing amid shattered glass, and both parents looking at each other with expressions of shock and fear. Isabella, horrified by what had just occurred, rushed to help Marcus with his injuries while Sophia ran to wake her brothers. Within minutes, all three children stood in the living room, witnessing their parents' marriage collapse in the most traumatic way possible. Diego, displaying maturity beyond his years, took charge of the situation. He called 911 to report his father's injuries, while Sofia and Carlos helped clean blood from Marcus's cuts. Isabella, overwhelmed by guilt and panic, called her sister Carmen to come help with the children. When paramedics arrived, they treated Marcus's injuries and recommended he visit the emergency room for proper wound care. Police officers also responded to the domestic disturbance call, interviewing both Marcus and Isabella separately about what had occurred. The officers determined that the incident appeared accidental rather than intentional violence, but they documented everything thoroughly and provided both parents with information about counseling resources and legal options. The children, traumatized by witnessing their parents' confrontation, spent the remainder of the night with Carmen while Marcus received medical treatment. The following morning brought devastating consequences that no one could have anticipated. Isabella, consumed by guilt about the previous evening's events and terrified about potential legal ramifications, made a desperate decision. She withdrew $15,000 from their joint savings account, packed a single suitcase, and left Phoenix before dawn, driving straight to Las Vegas to be with Thomas. Isabella left behind a note explaining that she could not face the children after they had witnessed such violence, and that she needed time to figure out how to rebuild their family in a healthier environment. She promised to return within a month to discuss custody arrangements and to ensure the children understood that the problems were between her and Marcus, not because of anything they had done wrong. Marcus, devastated by Isabella's abandonment, struggled to explain the situation to Diego, Sofia, and Carlos. The children, already traumatized by witnessing the previous evening's argument, could not understand why their mother had left without saying goodbye or explaining her decision personally. Community response to the family's crisis varied dramatically. Some neighbors and friends offered tremendous support, bringing meals, helping with childcare, and providing emotional comfort during an incredibly difficult time. Others began spreading rumors and speculation about what had really happened in the Rodriguez household. The situation became more complicated when Isabella failed to maintain regular contact with the children as promised. Her phone calls became increasingly infrequent, and she provided vague answers when the children asked when she would return home. Thomas, meanwhile, grew frustrated with Isabella's emotional instability and began questioning whether their relationship could survive the complications of her family situation. Marcus, despite his own emotional devastation, focused entirely on providing stability for his children. He arranged for professional counseling for all three, maintained their normal routines as much as possible, and assured them repeatedly that they were not responsible for their parents' problems. Diego stepped up to help with household responsibilities, learning to cook basic meals and helping Sofia and Carlos with homework. Sofia threw herself into violin practice, finding comfort in music during emotionally turbulent times. Carlos struggled the most, frequently asking when his mother would come home and having nightmares about the night she left. Weeks passed without any concrete communication from Isabella about her intentions. Marcus consulted with family law attorneys about custody and divorce proceedings. while also trying to maintain hope that Isabella might realize her mistake and return to work on their marriage. The children's emotional states began to deteriorate as Isabella's absence extended indefinitely. Diego started getting into fights at school, expressing anger about his mother's abandonment. Sofia developed severe anxiety about performing in public, worried that her mother would not be there to support her. Carlos began exhibiting regressive behaviors, including bedwetting and refusing to sleep alone. Community speculation about the Rodriguez family situation intensified when Isabella's real estate office confirmed she had resigned her position and would not be returning to Phoenix. Rumors spread about the family's financial situation, the children's emotional welfare, and whether Marcus was capable of handling single parenthood while dealing with his own emotional trauma. 6 months after Isabella's departure, Detective Patricia Wilson received a missing persons report filed by Carmen Santos, Isabella's sister. Carmen had not heard from Isabella in over 2 months, and Thomas Wright had contacted her, asking about Isabella's whereabouts, claiming she had left Las Vegas suddenly without explanation. Detective Wilson, a 20-year veteran of the Phoenix Police Department specializing in missing persons cases, began investigating Isabella's disappearance immediately. Her initial interviews with Marcus and the children revealed the complex family situation, but Marcus cooperated fully with the investigation and provided access to all relevant documents and communications. The investigation took an unexpected turn when Detective Wilson decided to conduct a thorough search of the Rodriguez family home. She wanted to determine whether any evidence existed suggesting foul play in Isabella's disappearance, particularly given the domestic dispute that had occurred before Isabella left Phoenix. While examining the basement of the Rodriguez home, Detective Wilson noticed irregularities in the wall construction. One section appeared newer than the surrounding areas, with slightly different paint and mortar work. Her training and experience suggested that this could indicate recent construction or repair work. Detective Wilson obtained a search warrant to examine the basement walls more thoroughly, using specialized equipment to detect hollow spaces behind walls. She discovered a hidden compartment that had been professionally concealed behind false drywall and paint. What Detective Wilson found in that hidden compartment would completely redefine everything everyone thought they knew about the Rodriguez family situation. Instead of evidence of violence or tragedy, she discovered carefully organized documents, photographs, and personal items that told an entirely different story. The compartment contained Isabella's personal journals dating back 5 years, documenting her growing dissatisfaction with her marriage and her desire for a different life. However, the journals also revealed Isabella's deep love for her children and her agonizing internal conflict about how to balance her personal happiness with her maternal responsibilities. More shocking was the discovery of legal documents showing that Isabella had been secretly working with family law attorneys for over a year before meeting Thomas, exploring options for divorce and custody arrangements. The documents revealed that Isabella had been planning to leave Marcus regardless of her relationship with Thomas. The most surprising discovery was a detailed letter addressed to Marcus, explaining Isabella's decision to leave and providing specific instructions for accessing hidden savings accounts she had established for the children's future needs. The letter, dated the day before Isabella left for Las Vegas, revealed that she had been planning her departure for months and had saved over $50,000 specifically to support the children during the transition. The letter explained that Isabella had hidden these resources because she feared Marcus would try to prevent her from leaving if he knew about her financial preparations. She had intended to reveal everything after establishing herself in Las Vegas and developing a concrete plan for sharing custody of the children. Detective Wilson also found correspondence between Isabella and a family therapist in Las Vegas, showing that Isabella had been receiving counseling to help her navigate the complex emotions surrounding her decision to leave her marriage. The therapist's notes, included with Isabella's permission, revealed that Isabella was struggling with severe depression and anxiety about her life choices. Most importantly, Detective Wilson discovered recent communications indicating that Isabella was alive and living in Portland, Oregon, where she had relocated after ending her relationship with Thomas Wright. Isabella had been working as a real estate agent under her maiden name and had been sending money anonymously to an account designated for her children's needs. The truth about Isabella's disappearance was far more complex than anyone had imagined. She had not been murdered or kidnapped. She had made a conscious decision to start over completely, but had been too afraid and ashamed to maintain contact with her children because of how badly she had handled her departure. Detective Wilson contacted Isabella directly, using information found in the hidden compartment. Isabella, shocked that her hiding place had been discovered, agreed to return to Phoenix immediately to face the consequences of her actions and to reconnect with her children. The reunion between Isabella and her children was emotional and difficult. Diego, Sofia, and Carlos had spent 6 months wondering whether their mother was dead or alive, whether she had abandoned them permanently, or whether they had done something to drive her away. Isabella, who had spent 6 months dealing with her own guilt and emotional trauma, realized that her attempt to protect her children by staying away had actually caused them much greater harm. She had been paralyzed by shame about the night she left and had convinced herself that the children would be better off without her chaotic presence in their lives. The family began an intensive therapy process with Dr. Angela Rodriguez, a family counselor specializing in divorce and custody transitions. Dr. Rodriguez helped all family members understand the complex emotions and circumstances that had led to their crisis. Marcus, despite his own hurt and anger, recognized that maintaining a hostile attitude toward Isabella would only harm their children further. He agreed to work collaboratively with Isabella to develop a custody arrangement that would provide stability for Diego, Sofia, and Carlos while allowing Isabella to rebuild her relationship with them, gradually. Isabella, meanwhile, had used her 6 months away to gain clarity about what she truly wanted from life. Her relationship with Thomas had ended when she realized that she had been seeking escape from her problems rather than genuinely pursuing love. Her time in Portland had allowed her to develop independence and confidence, but had also made her realize how much she missed her children. The custody arrangement, that emerged from months of negotiation and therapy, was unconventional but ultimately successful. Isabella relocated back to Phoenix, but maintained her own apartment rather than returning to the family home. The children spent weekends with Isabella and weekdays with Marcus, allowing them to rebuild their relationship with their mother while maintaining stability in their primary residence. Marcus sold the family home on Willowbrook Drive, which held too many painful memories for everyone involved. He purchased a smaller house in the same school district, ensuring that the children could maintain their friendships and activities while adjusting to their new family structure. Isabella resumed her real estate career in Phoenix, but with a different perspective on balancing work and family responsibilities. She became an advocate for other women struggling with similar life transitions, eventually starting a support group for mothers dealing with divorce and custody issues. The children's healing process took considerable time and continued professional support. Diego learned to express his anger constructively through sports and eventually became a peer counselor for other teenagers dealing with family crises. Sofia returned to her violin with renewed passion, often performing pieces that helped her process her emotional experiences. Carlos, with consistent therapy and patience from both parents, gradually overcame his anxiety and regressive behaviors. 3 years after Isabella's return, the Rodriguez family had created a new version of normal that worked for everyone involved. While Marcus and Isabella never reconciled romantically, they developed a respectful co-parenting relationship focused entirely on their children's well-being. Isabella eventually married David Chen, a fellow real estate agent who understood and supported her commitment to her children. Marcus began dating Linda Martinez, a teacher at his school, who brought joy and stability to his life. Both new relationships were introduced to the children gradually and with careful attention to their comfort levels. The children thrived in their restructured family environment. Diego graduated as valedictorian and received a full scholarship to Arizona State University, where he studied education to follow in his father's footsteps. Sofia was accepted to a prestigious music conservatory and maintained close relationships with both parents throughout her training. Carlos, now 13, had become a confident young man who served as a mediator when his parents disagreed about family decisions. The Rodriguez family's experience offers important lessons about communication, honesty, and the complexity of human relationships. Isabella's initial decision to pursue an affair rather than addressing her marital dissatisfaction directly created unnecessary trauma for everyone involved. However, her eventual decision to return and work collaboratively with Marcus to rebuild their family structure demonstrated that even serious mistakes can be overcome with commitment and professional help. Marcus's willingness to put his children's needs above his own hurt feelings proved crucial to the family's healing process. While he could have used Isabella's abandonment to turn the children against their mother, he recognized that doing so would ultimately harm Diego, Sofia, and Carlos more than it would satisfy his desire for revenge. The children learned valuable lessons about resilience, forgiveness, and the importance of honest communication. They witnessed their parents' failures and imperfections, but also saw how adults can take responsibility for their mistakes and work to make amends. Detective Wilson's thorough investigation revealed the importance of looking beyond surface appearances when trying to understand complex family situations. What initially appeared to be a potential domestic violence case was actually a story about depression, poor communication, and the consequences of avoiding difficult conversations about relationship satisfaction. The hidden compartment in the Rodriguez basement became a metaphor for the secrets and unexpressed feelings that had destroyed their original family structure. Once those secrets were revealed and addressed directly, healing became possible for everyone involved. Today, the Rodriguez family serves as an example of how families can survive even devastating crises when all members commit to honesty, professional help, and prioritizing children's well-being above adult conflicts. Their story demonstrates that happy endings are possible even after serious mistakes, but only through hard work, patience, and genuine commitment to change. If this story of family resilience and second chances resonated with you, I encourage you to share it with others who might benefit from understanding that even the most difficult family situations can improve with time, effort, and professional support. Subscribe to True Crime Village for more stories that explore the complexity of human relationships and the possibility of redemption even after serious mistakes. Remember that seeking help during family crises is a sign of strength, not weakness, and that children can overcome traumatic experiences when the adults in their lives prioritize healing and stability above personal conflicts.